Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I posted, but today we are going to be reading Am I the Asshole Reddit stories. The theme of the stories we're gonna be reading about are all about 18th birthdays because I'm turning 18 in about like a week as of when I'm filming this. Yay! I think we should just get started because I have selected some stories that I haven't read. I've only read the title, but they're kind of interesting, so I can't wait to read about all these assholes. Okay, let's start. Am I the asshole for missing my niece's 18th birthday because my children are the only kids excluded? Okay, let's read the story first before we form an opinion, but my sister doesn't particularly like two of my children. They are 8 and 10, have autism, and are high energy, but they are great kids. I don't just say that because they're mine. They're exceptional students, excel in their musical and sports hobbies, and are well liked by everyone. No one else in the family has an issue with them, and we recently attended a formal sit-down dinner and dance for my grandmother's 80th birthday with zero issues. When they were younger, I refused to set them up for failure and avoided fancy restaurants or other places not appropriate for high-energy kiddos. So we did miss my sister's 40th as I had newly separated from my husband, had a newborn via cesarean, C-section I'm pretty sure, and wasn't sure that I could cope with the kids in that setting, but was reliant on others to drive us there so we could then just leave if needed. Plus it was a per head buffet and would have been a waste to leave before eating. I believe she is still salty about that 6 years later. Sibling tea is always... Okay, I'll leave my thoughts for later. There will be other children at this party, around 20 of them ranging from 11 down to newborn. My nieces invited me, and then my sister changed dates, so it's no longer on my kid-free weekend. She then contacted me saying you will have to get a babysitter for those two. My other children are invited, 19, 13, and 6-year-old. They are hiring a hall, cooking a barbecue dinner, and having a local band play, so it's very family friendly. I've booked a holiday overseas instead for myself and the kids, and we will be there instead. I'll send the girls some cash as presents, and they are both moving to the city where I now live for university next year, so I'll help them move and fill their pantries as a housewarming gift, which I did for my oldest child as well. Now, my sister is complaining that I'm going on holiday rather than the party. So am I the asshole for not taking some of my children to the party and getting a babysitter for two of them? Edit to clarify. When they said that their children were high energy, they meant that when they were younger, they struggled to sit still in a noisy public setting for longer than about an hour. They would eat and then do coloring or Legos or puzzles, whatever I packed, until I finished eating. Then I would take them for a walk outside with my now ex-husband or my parents taking turns to walk with them outside. Pretty age appropriate for a 2-year-old and 4-year-old, but my nieces who are older would sit for hours with their iPads while my sister chatted in a cafe. Now they still need a decent amount of physical activity. It's 2 p.m. here and they have been on the trampoline, ridden scooters in the driveway with my youngest niece, we are at my younger sister's house, and played some basketball in the backyard. I could give them screens, but they struggle to sleep if they sit around too long, and I prefer to interact and socialize during meals. Yeah, so this Obi is not the asshole at all. That is horrible and low-key ableist. Like inviting the other children to the party and not these two autistic kids. That's like horrible. The verdict was also not the asshole, so when I say like the verdict means the people on Reddit have come together and decided that this person is not the asshole, so that's like the general consensus. Okay, so one comment said, not the asshole, but this is something you're going to want to get ahead of. Your sister is going to paint you as the bad guy for not attending. Make sure people who are important to you know exactly why you're not attending, and that is because your sister decided to be an ableist ass and told you that 2 of your children were banned for being neurodivergent. OP replied, my younger sister is doing a great job of setting people straight, aha. That sounds good. It sounds like her younger sister is very more understanding and not ableist. Another person said, not the asshole, I wouldn't stress over it. I can't personally imagine going to any family function where any of my children were not welcome. Send a nice card and move on. Someone else replied to that and said, I think if it's an adult-only event, that's one thing, but excluding 2 kids in particular is a dick move. I agree. Yeah, so the general consensus is that, like, the sister is horrible, and there is a clear reason why that sister of yours doesn't like these 2 particular children. There's a common denominator or factor between the 2 of them, and it's very blatantly ableist to specifically not invite those 2. I think they did a great job in just bringing the entire family for holiday, and it's not like it's not like OP is blaming the niece, because the nieces did invite OP. It's the mom that's purposely not inviting them and telling these 2 kids to stay home, which I think is so rude in general, to purposely leave out 2 kids. It's not like an 18 plus birthday where maybe only inviting the 19-year-old kid would be fine, but they invited the 19, 13, and 6-year-old kid, which I think is crazy. It's not even the oldest kids. Like, there's 5 children. Okay, 19, 13, 10, 8, and 6. The 2 kids that OP is talking about are 8 and 10. So it's not like they're choosing to only invite the older kids. It's like purposely leaving out those 2, which I think is just horrible. I feel bad for the nieces because I think they would have wanted their cousins to be there and their aunt. So yeah, that's that story. Kind of a sad start, but I'm sure as we go along there will hopefully be some more fun ones. Okay, here's the next story. Am I the asshole for celebrating my 18th birthday instead of going to my sister's wedding? Hello there. Never posted on Reddit before, so this is a first, but I could really use some help on this. So me, male, 17, and my sister, female, 30, aren't really that well known, as she is from another relationship of my father's. I don't really know the story behind it. A few years ago, she got engaged, but due to COVID, the wedding was delayed and it was rescheduled to December 2nd of this year. I was invited over a year ago and obviously accepted. I don't think I was told a date. I don't really remember all that well. Fast forward to a few months ago, and in that time I went through GCSEs and most of my first year of college. I then get a reminder being told my sister's wedding is now on the 2nd of December, which now posed an issue for me. My birthday is on November 30th, and I had an actual time going out planned for the 2nd of December. I told my dad the issue, and he told me I have to go to my sister's wedding because I already agreed, but my preference is to go celebrate my 18th. I told my dad this along with the fact that I was told agreed about my sister's wedding over a year ago. If I had been told the date sooner or reminded of it, then I would have made sure I wasn't doing anything. But at the time I was told about the date, I already had things planned for that day. I already made my decision and told my dad that. It then came to an hour ago when my sister messages me confirming if I'm not coming to her wedding and would prefer to go out instead. I told her yes and that I'm sorry for being a pain to her. But then she goes on and guilt trips me by saying I'd rather go to clubbing, which I can do anytime rather than go to her wedding, which she only has once. I'm still yet to reply to her because I'm not sure what to respond with. If I could have some help with this, that would be great. Thanks. Edit. One thing I forgot to clarify or go over, she is my half-sister. I forgot to put that in there and we didn't even meet until I was 6, and the next time I saw her was at my grandma's funeral. I think there's a very, very clear verdict here that that OP is clearly the asshole. It's quite blatantly clear. I don't think someone would invite you to their wedding over a year ago without telling you the date. I'm gonna scroll down and see if he ever clarified that, but sometimes these OPs are unreliable storytellers. They might leave out some things to make them look better or whatever, but I'm gonna read some comments. One commenter said that gently, you're the asshole. A birthday party can be rescheduled. A wedding, which is once in a lifetime event for a lot of people, cannot. You had the date well in advance and could schedule accordingly. I agree. He definitely got the date and he's just choosing to forget it. Another person commented, you're the asshole. You accepted. Doesn't matter that you forgot. You accepted that invite first and it's not your birthday. You and your friends can go clubbing the weekend afterwards. You're going to be an adult. Time to act like one. The wedding is not on his actual birthday, which is fine, but like if the wedding was on the day of his actual birthday, maybe I could understand a little bit, but it's not even on his actual birthday. Personally, for me, I don't like to celebrate like on my actual day for my birthday. I don't like to go out because I'm a homebody and I like to spend the day with myself and just to enjoy and relax at home. But I do go out with my friends and celebrate on like other days, like either belated or earlier. I just feel like you agreed to this thing first and then you make plans, and it just sounds like you didn't think about it. You have to have someone remind you about your sister's wedding first before you remembered it yourself. So I just think you are very irresponsible. I hate it when people say they're gonna do one thing then they don't. So you really piss me off. Next story. Am I the asshole for not wanting to celebrate my daughter's 18th birthday? Okay. This is the first time I have done this, but I have seen posts similar to this on both Facebook Reels and YouTube Shorts. I don't like sharing my life on the internet, but I need opinions outside of my family and friends. Also, sorry for my grammar, English is not my first language. To start this off, I, 47 male, have a 17-year-old daughter who will be 18 in 2 days. I will call her Lily for privacy purposes. Lily is quite independent and has her life put together. She works a part-time job to pay her school projects and rarely asks me or my wife money, and if she does, she will pay it back when she gets paid from her job. I don't remember when she stopped depending on our money, but I encourage it since we are struggling financially. My wife, mom, siblings, and relatives have been talking about Lily's 18th birthday and they would like to have a grand celebration for it. 18th birthdays are quite a big deal in my country since it was this path to adulthood, as they say, but I don't believe that. I feel like it's a waste of money for just one day, and my daughter has commented that if she is satisfied just celebrating at home. But my wife has consulted me about this months before, and I have told her no. My mother consulted Lily about her 18th birthday, and she has told her that any celebration is fine as long as it's not too much. I thought that was the end of it, but my brothers visited me and talked to me about Lily's debutante party. Everything was settled and paid for by my sister. I was furious and have lashed out to them and told them how they could have just given that money for Lily's college funds instead of this stupid party, but they told me how selfish I was thinking it was all about money and how I should pay more attention to my daughter's feelings and saying that Lily deserves this after all the years she's worked hard for herself. I tried to give her my reasoning, but they kept berating me, calling me heartless, and how a daughter shouldn't feel obligated to support herself when she's barely an adult herself. But Lily's independence and part-time job was all her decision. My reasoning is not selfish. I'm thinking about my daughter and how the money could have been spent on something useful instead of a party that wouldn't even last a day. But my brothers are crying and kept telling me that I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't, and I want to know what I am missing that a party like this is, and if I am an asshole for not wanting this party for my daughter. Wow. Money is hard. Money is very hard, but I don't know. Oftentimes with things like this, when a daughter or like a kid has grown up fast enough, a lot of people will think, oh, they're so mature, they're so sensible and independent and like grown up, that they only care about practical things. That sounds like how OP thinks of his daughter. Like, he sees her like, oh, she has a job, I didn't ask her to do that, she did that on her own, so she's very practical and sensible. That's who she is. And I understand not wanting to throw this party for her because you'd have the finances, and I understand how hard it is to accept money from relatives and stuff like that. But I feel like OP's siblings are paying for the party, And I think OP's daughter really deserves this party after hearing how much she has worked hard for herself and all that she has done for herself. I think she really deserves that, but it just doesn't seem like he thinks that that is a priority that she has, that is something that she would want. I think he is really stuck in this image of his daughter. Like, I think OP is like, my daughter is so sensible, she wouldn't want a party like this, and it's a waste of money. But I think a birthday celebration is also a celebration of what she has done in the past year and in her life so far. It's celebrating her, and it might feel like it's only lasts one day or not even one day, and that it's just a party, stuff like that. But I think the thought counts, and it just seems like you're thinking more about what you think your daughter wants and what she actually might want. OP's daughter is telling him like any celebration is okay as long as it's not too much, but I mean, that could be a white lie. That's what humans do. But there is an update, and I'm gonna read this update. I'm really stupid for asking strangers on the internet for validation when I could have talked to my daughter first, and I am ashamed that I just realized that just now. I have talked to Lily about the party and her feelings. This is the first time in years since we've talked this long, and now I feel like a piece of shit for not noticing any of this sooner. When Lily was just a child, she was energetic and clingy to me. She was basically a daddy's girl. She always kept me in her thoughts and even tells me everything that goes on in her day. But when she reached teen years, she has grown distant from me and only has bonded with her mother and younger sister. I always thought it was just the usual phase teens go through and she'll bounce back. I was wrong. It wasn't a phase. It was my fault. Years before, I had suffered from severe illness which forced me to quit my job and stay at home. I couldn't provide for my family, and in return my mental state changed drastically because of the debt and bills piling up. I easily get angry, and my issues unfortunately affected my daughter. Lily has mentioned she started becoming independent because she didn't want to feel burdened or feel like she owes me every single penny. I think he meant she didn't want to feel like a burden. She recalled how I would always use the food, the school projects, gifts, and money I have given her as a weapon. In her words, if I fail a subject, make a mistake, or even just misbehave, you would always tell me how disappointed you are to me and how your sacrifices are all for nothing and how you would threaten to take them away and sell them off. I never realized those words would affect her so much. I even forgot I told her those words when she was younger. My anger got the best of me, and in return, I lost my daughter emotionally. I saw her independence as something good instead of being concerned why she doesn't want me to provide for her. I feel so shit. She did want to have a debutante party. She wanted to experience what her female cousins felt during their 18th birthdays with their pretty gowns and fancy cakes, but she just said anything is fine because she didn't want to look like a spoiled brat in front of me and her grandmother. This is the first time I have seen her cry, and I am so heartbroken to know that I broke my own daughter and made her feel like she is undeserving of any gifts and celebration. I made her feel like every gift has a payment, and now I couldn't stop crying. The guilt I never knew I had started piling up, and I just hugged her tightly. Now I know what my brothers were telling me all this time, and God, I was so stupid for being this dense. The party will go on. I want my daughter to feel special, and I want to atone for all those years where she suffered in silence because of me. I will attend the party and apologize to my siblings for lashing out. Yeah, like I said, it's a lot of times kids are trying to be a version of themselves that their parents would approve of. And yeah, I saw this coming. When life throws you hurdles when you are a father or a parent, it can affect your children as well. And I guess he didn't realize what he was doing. But yeah, damn, that was really sad. Ugh. Oh my goodness. A lot of the commenters are being very harsh, and I understand where they're coming from, but for me personally, I just think he is really thinking about himself and not his daughter and what she wants, but I'm really glad with the edit that he has realized the mistakes he's made. And I do think that from what he wrote in his edit, that he will continue trying to make up for this, and that he finally understands what his daughter is going through. But yeah, that was really sad. Okay, next one. Am I the asshole for refusing to go into Hooters for my brother's 18th birthday and sitting in the car? Let's see if this is a little more lighthearted. I'm 14, female, and just last week my older brother turned 18. He is at college a few hours away, so my mom, dad, and I got in the car to meet him and give him presents. And yeah, I crocheted him a Pikachu. Nobody talked about what we were eating for dinner ahead of time, or I just wouldn't have gone. But when we got there, my dad kept asking if my brother wanted to go to Hooters. I'm gonna be honest and just say that it made me feel really uncomfortable. For those of you who don't know, Hooters is this chain restaurant where the whole point is to gawk at the waitresses who are all hot girls wearing white shirts and little orange shorts. It made me feel really, really uncomfy and bad, so I said that they could go inside, and I looked and saw there was a bookstore like a 5-minute walk away, so I'd go there instead because I did not want to go. My dad got pissed off and started screaming at me that if I had a problem, I could sit in the car. So I said, okay, I'll just sit here. He snatched my phone and screamed that I will need my phone to sit here. I said, okay. They went in, then about 20 minutes later, my mom came out to ask me to go inside with them, and I said, no, I don't want to go there. After they dropped off my brother, he screamed at me for my actions. I low-key thought my mom would get it, but when we got home, she told me that I should have just gone in because it was not that big a deal. I told her that it felt really gross to go to a restaurant just meant for gawking at women with my dad and brother. That if my dad wanted to perv out like that, he should have just gone with my brother. She said that sometimes we have to do things that we don't want to do, which yeah, I get that, but I figured that applied more to stuff like having to do homework or babysit my mom's friends' kids. Am I the asshole? I wanted to clear something up because it keeps coming up, but my brother's birthday dinner wasn't ruined. They got to go inside and have a good time. He got his presents and money, and he and dad talked about how big their waitress's tits are and how hard it would be to see her and the other girl together on the drive back to his school. So nothing was ruined because I wasn't there. And no, I'm not lying about my dad screaming. He screams when he gets mad. I know the difference between a scream, a yell, raised voice, or talk sternly. Go ahead and judge me, but don't call me a liar. Going to Hooters for your 18th birthday is crazy. But going to Hooters with your parents, your family, for your birthday is crazy. Like, what? This is disgusting. I'm not saying that Hooters is bad inherently because of the nature of the restaurant. I would think that the waitresses that work there know what they're getting into and that this is all consensual, and they do understand the environment they're in. But yeah, I mean, the OP is obviously not the asshole. Everyone has different comfort levels, and she was clearly extremely uncomfortable with the situation, and goodness me, gawking the dad and brother, my god, and the mom. I feel bad for the mom because I feel like maybe the husband made her do stuff that she didn't necessarily like, and it got ingrained in her head or something, that sometimes you gotta do stuff that you don't like sit there watching your husband gawk at women right in front of you for your son's birthday. But yeah, screaming, like, grow up. Screaming at someone is so embarrassing. Like, are you not embarrassed? That's so goofy. Let me read some comments. This person commented, not the asshole. You're right. Going to Hooters with your dad and brother does sound like a gross time. I wouldn't have wanted to go either. It's not a family restaurant. They have a target demographic and you're not it. Your dad's reactions are way out of line and crossed out sound borderline. Was abusive. I'm sorry, you may want to talk to your school counselor about his actions. And hard no on this meaning OP's mom saying that sometimes we have to do things that we don't want to do. This is for stuff like homework, not going to a restaurant whose sole purpose is to objectify women with your brother and father while they eat wings and make inappropriate comments. Editing because people are right. The father's comments and actions weren't borderline, they were abusive. Second edit. The more I think about it, the more I'm mad at OP's mom too. Just going along with it when it would have been so freaking easy to say, you know, this sounds like a great bonding experience for you and son. Why don't you two go in together and OP and I will go browse some books. We can meet up when you're done. Third and final edit. To everyone saying it's a family restaurant, it's legitimately named after a nickname for large breast. While I don't agree that they are capable of providing good service for underage customers, which is the bare minimum for a place that allows kids, the whole damn point of the place is to be served by women in revealing clothing where you can ogle them. Yeah, oh my god, I forgot that OP's father was like, not only screaming at her, but like forcing her to stay in a car alone without her phone. Like, that is dangerous. Not like abusive and dangerous. Horrible. Very icky. Honestly, props to OP for like standing up for herself and everything, and standing her ground and setting boundaries for herself. I love that for her. Can't wait for her. And she's 14. Oh my god. But yeah, wow, this is horrible. I love all the stories we're reading. They're also wholesome and fun, right? So that was kind of crazy. I just know my birthday hopefully isn't gonna be like any of these stories. Who was the biggest asshole? I think it was definitely the person, the OP that celebrated their birthday instead of going to their sister's wedding. Like, grow up. You RSVP'd a year ago. But yeah, I really feel very lucky for the position I am in, because hopefully I don't think I will be experiencing any of this very soon. So hope this just made us all feel more grateful for the families we have. Most of these stories were related to family, and I just think we should all just try to be more understanding of each other and try to communicate and listen. Because the last story about the Hooters one, she communicated but it was not being listened to. I just think communication is important, and we need to listen to each other's wants and needs and to set boundaries and stuff like that. But yeah, that was crazy. Hope it wasn't too much of a downer. Happy birthday! I'm going to try to post more stuff. Maybe more Am I the Assholes, and also I'm planning to do a lot more like videos just talking about things that I like movies and stuff. I don't know, but I will be back. I do miss YouTube. Every time I take a hiatus, I come back because I always come back because I miss it a little bit. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, which is hopefully sooner than later. Okay, bye.